More backlash today for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis after their video explaining why they wrote letters of support for convicted rapist Danny Masterson.
I do not believe he is an ongoing threat to society. He already did what he wanted to do. What the fuck, Ashton Kutcher? What the fuck?
She's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18.
People we know as awesome guys can be predators and abusers. It's tough to accept, but we have to.
So I have a question for you. If you found out a friend of yours committed a heinous crime, would you find yourself in a position to defend them? Well, that's exactly what Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis have done after the recent sentencing of their fellow That 70s Show co-star Danny Masterson, and let's just say it's a mess. Hey y'all, welcome back. My name is Adria, and I'm here to comment on current events, social issues, and whatever else I feel like talking about on this channel. Not exactly how I wanted to make a return to this channel, but here we are. So recently there has been a lot of smoke surrounding the Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis character letters defending Danny Masterson after he has been convicted on 2 counts of rape. I really wanted to dig deeper and try to understand the real context here, and I wanted to get a real understanding of the situation myself. What character letters are supposed to do? Who are they for? Did they know that the public could see this? I think it goes without saying that there should be a huge content warning on this video. If this is a sensitive, touchy subject for you and you're not in the mental space to be dealing with this, I totally understand. But without further ado, let's get into this. On September 7th, 2023, Danny Masterson was sentenced by LA County Superior Court by Judge Charlene Almedo to 30 years to life in prison. He was convicted on 2 of 3 rape counts, which took place at his home in Southern California between 2001 and 2003. He was first accused of assault back in 2017 and faced trial in October of 2022. Which ended in a mistrial when the jury could not reach a unanimous decision. He'll be eligible for parole in 25 years. Guess he'll be 70 when he gets out. I think it's also worth noting that Danny Masterson was a member of the Church of Scientology, as were his victims. Let's just say the Church of Scientology has a way of covering things up and encourages people to not come forward with things like this. They like to push everything under the rug. And so I really do commend these women for finding the courage to come out against Danny Masterson, because not only were they coming up against a celebrity, but they were also coming up against the entire Church of Scientology. It's a very scary organization. Cult. I can't imagine how scary that must have been, so real props to them. And I think I, along with the public at large, is really glad to see justice being served in this case, because less than 1% of rapes lead to felony convictions, and at least 89% of victims face emotional and physical consequences. Less than 1/3% of rapes are reported to the police. This is from the Washington Post. 1 in 5 women in the U.S. experienced completed or attempted rape during their lifetime, and nearly 1/4 of men experienced some form of contact sexual violence in their lifetime.
97% of rapists will not spend a single day in jail. That is a real statistic. How does society, how do we fix this? How do we stop this happening? It has to involve us. And by us, I mean men. Now, to the women in the room, I know you know this. None of this is new information to you. You've lived your life, you've got your experiences, and your voices are more important and necessary in this discussion than mine. That being said, I would still like to lend my voice to the discussion. And to the men in the room, I want to make something crystal clear. This isn't an attack. I'm not accusing you of anything. I knew this man for 8 years, and he did it. There are monsters amongst us and they look like us. If you are sick of the narrative that is currently going on about men, feel free to change it, but you have to get involved. Don't make the same mistake I did for years, which was just sitting back and be like, well, I'm not part of the problem, therefore I must be part of the solution, because that's just not how the shit works. I believe, and deep down I know that most men are good, of course we are, but when 1 in 10 men are shit and the other 9 do nothing, they might as well not be there. You have to actively be good and get involved. Instead of having this hero complex of being like, I'm going to beat up a rapist, prevent one, stop one, because I know it can be done, because I know how I fucking failed at it. Talk to your fucking boys.
To see justice being served, especially where cases like this are not always brought forward. A lot of are not reported. Now we bring in where Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis write character letters to the judge. So the character letters come into play for the judge to make a better judgment when sentencing a person, because all they're seeing right now is the crimes. And, you know, they want to have more context of who a person is. Here's the character letter written by Mila Kunis. To the Honorable Judge Almedo, I am writing this character letter on behalf of my dear friend Danny Masterson, with whom I have had the privilege of sharing a significant part of my life. My name is Mila Kunis, and I am an actress, and I believe it is essential to share the remarkable influence Danny has had on my life and the lives of others. I first met Danny during our time working together on That 70s Show, and from the very beginning, I could sense his innate goodness and genuine nature. Throughout our time together, Danny has proven to be an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. His caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally. One of the most remarkable aspects of Danny's character is his unwavering commitment to discouraging the use of drugs. Yeah, I don't think most people within Scientology believe in alcohol or drug use, so that's not surprising. His influence on me in this regard has been invaluable. In an industry where the pressures and temptations of substance use can be overwhelming, Danny played a pivotal role in guiding me away from such destructive paths. His dedication to avoiding all substances has inspired not only me, but also countless others in our circle. Danny's steadfastness in promoting a drug-free lifestyle has been a guiding light in my journey throughout the entertainment world and has helped me prioritize my well-being and focus on making responsible choices. His genuine concern for those around him and his commitment to leading by example make him an outstanding role model and friend. Yikes. Danny's role as a husband and father to his daughter has been nothing short of extraordinary. Witnessing his interactions with his daughter has been heartwarming and enlightening. He prioritizes his family, education, and happiness above all else, demonstrating his unwavering commitment to being a loving and responsible parent. As a father, he leads by example, instilling in her values that reflect integrity, compassion, and respect of others. Moreover, Danny has consistently displayed a profound sense of responsibility and care for those around him. He demonstrates grace and empathy in every situation, be it within the entertainment industry or in our personal lives. His steady support and understanding presence make him a reliable source of guidance and comfort for all of us. In conclusion, I wholeheartedly vouch for Danny Masterson's exceptional character. I think that's the line right there. Like, that's the line. I wholeheartedly vouch for Danny Masterson's exceptional character and the tremendous positive influence he has had on me and the people around him. His dedication to leading a drug-free life and the genuine care he extends to others make him an outstanding role model and friend. Please feel free to reach out if you require any further information or clarification. Yeah, I require a lot of clarification, actually. How about, wow, I was really blindsided. He was really great to me, but that doesn't excuse the shitty things that he has done to others. Yeah, just because you have a positive experience with someone does not mean they are a good person. Hello? Have you ever met somebody in your life and people around you are like, oh, they're so nice, I really like them, and it's like, to me, that doesn't say much, because most people are nice when you meet them. I'm gonna need a little bit more than that. Bad people have people that they don't do wrong by. Here's old Ashton's. This is ugh. Honorable Judge Almedo, my name is Ashton Kutcher. I'm an actor, investor, philanthropist, and most importantly, a father. I met Danny Masterson when I was 20 years old in 1998. He instantly became a friend, dedicated coworker, and role model to me, and has remained as such for 25 years. I don't know if I would have admitted that if I were you, Mr. Kutcher, but as a friend, Danny has been nothing but a positive influence on me. He's an extraordinarily honest and intellectual human being. Over a 25-year relationship, I don't ever recall him lying to me. Would you know? I don't know if I could ever say without any inkling of doubt that someone has never lied to me. I mean, our parents lie to us. Like, everybody lies. Like, everybody lies about something. He's taught me about being direct, and confronting issues in life and relationships head on, resolving them and moving forward, pushing things under the rug for 20 years. Is that what you meant to say? Danny is a person that is consistently there for you when you need him. We've traveled around the world together, raised our daughters together, and shared countless family moments. Not only is he a good friend to me, I've witnessed him be a good friend to others, and the kind of brother others would be lucky to have. As a role model, there's that word role model again. Like, I think if you've committed a crime, you're instantly off the pedestal of being considered a role model for anything. In fact, I think we should choose role models in life pretty selectively. As a role model, Danny has consistently been an excellent one. I attribute not falling into the typical Hollywood life of drugs directly to Danny. Anytime that we were to meet someone or interact with someone who was on drugs or did drugs, he made it clear that that wouldn't be a good person to be friends with. And for me, that was an implication that if I were to do drugs, he wouldn't want to be friends with me, which is something I never would want to risk or jeopardize. I'm grateful to him for that positive peer pressure. He also set an extraordinary standard around how you treat other people. This is kind of interesting, and I wonder why he included this, but there was an incident where we were at a pizza parlor, and a belligerent man entered who was berating his girlfriend. We never had met or seen these people before, but Danny was the first person to jump to the defense of this girl. It was an incident he didn't have to get involved in, but proactively chose to because the way this man was behaving was not right. He has always treated people with decency, equality, and generosity. After 9/11, Danny was a huge advocate for support for the firefighters affected by the event, rallying his friends and coworkers to pitch in however they could. Danny had his daughter a year before I had mine. He set a standard of being a hands-on dad. We have spent countless hours together with our kids, and he is among few people that I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter. Yeah, I think most people are pretty selective about who they leave their children with. I have nothing to say there. We have spent hundreds of hours working together. Danny takes his job seriously. He is kind, courteous, and hardworking. He treated everyone from the grips to the teamsters, to the actors, to the caterers as equals. He showed up on time and always pulled his weight. We've also traveled around the world together promoting our work. I can honestly say that no matter where we were or who we were with, I never saw my friend be anything other than the guy I have described. While I am aware that the judgment has been cast as guilty on 2 counts of rape by force and the victims have a great desire for justice, I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing. I do not believe he is an ongoing harm to society. Oh, my dog would never bite anyone, but it's an animal. But it could. Never say never. And don't defend things so blanketly and blindly. Like, come on, be real. And having his daughter raised without a present father would be a tertiary injustice in and of itself. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Well, I'm glad he thanked me for taking the time to read that because I feel ill. Then the couple took to Instagram to make an apology once the public got hold of these character letters and did not receive them very well.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse.
The actions of writing this character letter to a judge speaks more than some Instagram apology. You know, you did the thing that you wanted to do, right? You defended a criminal, convicted criminal. It wasn't even like, you know, he hadn't been convicted yet. They didn't know what the crimes were. They knew. They knew that he was found guilty. They knew he was being locked up. And yet they still had a desire to defend him. They claimed that they support victims, and the letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling. And if that's the case, why defend a rapist? And that was my big question throughout this. Why? Why defend him? I really feel like this Instagram video failed to atone for what they said in their letters. Oh, sorry if this made you feel some type of way. No, it did. This was really interesting too. So one of the victims, Chrissy Carnell-Bixler, stated in an Instagram story, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you. Ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you are just as sick as your mentor. Dear Mila, I pray that you begin to process what you have experienced as a child on that set. Your old interviews are very telling. I encourage everyone to watch them and decide for yourself what you hear and see. Do so before they get scrubbed from the internet. I also know what happened in Toronto and after. If that's what you view as a normal relationship with a big brother figure, then I feel very sad for you and I hope you consider getting into therapy. You must forget I was there the whole time those first 5 years of that 70s show. I remember everything." There was also another statement by actress Christina Ricci, which was very beautifully written and well said. "So sometimes people we have loved and admired do horrible things. They might not do these things to us, and we only know who they were to us. But that doesn't mean they didn't do the horrible things. To discredit the abused is a crime." Very beautifully said. And I think sometimes we can be blinded by our friendships. We refuse to see who they are outside of that. So I had to do some research about the purpose of character letters and why they are written. What is their purpose? And what they typically look like and what they are used for. I will link down below. You can read more from this article that I'm about to reference. You can read more about what the Deputy Director of Legal Services at the Legal Action Center says in a Vox article on the purpose of character letters. But to summarize here, character letters theoretically aren't about a person's innocence or used as a last-ditch defense, but a plea for mercy, and for the judge to see a fuller portrait of a person. The purpose of the letters is to help the judge understand who the person is. And the character letters come into play after someone's been found guilty. The judge can then decide the sentencing options. Like in the case of somebody who maybe had a rough upbringing, this would give the judge more context about what could have led them to that point. I wondered if these letters were supposed to be held in confidentiality, like if they were only for a judge to see, but no, these letters are public record. Most times this wouldn't really matter to non-celebrities. If they wanted their letters to be more effective, for lack of a better word, they perhaps could have expressed remorse and a level of responsibility. Like, I'm so devastated to hear about the person I once thought I knew. I was completely blindsided by this. I'm disgusted by this, something along those lines. Not paint a picture of a great person that is no danger to society, because he has already proven that that is not the case. So, let's get into some hypocrisy here. It's strange how Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis referenced him keeping them off of drugs many times, despite him using drugs in the crimes he committed. Hello? And like one of the victims, Chrissy Carnell-Bixler, referenced that she was on the phone that night and overheard. So this is in reference to Ashton Kutcher's girlfriend at the time passed away. It is alleged that he witnessed her being unalive on the floor and did not report it. This is not proven.
After Kutcher and Kunis' letters were leaked, Bixler began speaking out on the alleged skeletons in Kutcher's closet. In a series of Instagram posts, the model actress accused Kutcher of lying to the police about what he actually witnessed the night of the late Ellerin's murder. Bixler claimed that Kutcher called his team of publicists and Danny Masterson before the police at the scene of the crime, in an alleged attempt to distance himself from it as much as possible.
So Mila Kunis was just 15 years old at the beginning of that 70s show. She was 14 when she was cast. Now, it did come out later on that she lied about her age, but to me that doesn't really change the fact of the matter that she was a child. I found this article where Mila Kunis once said Danny Masterson bet Ashton Kutcher $10 to French kiss her on the set of that 70s show. Quote, I was a 14-year-old little girl. Here's a clip from a interview with Rosie O'Donnell back in 2002.
She was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
say, that's
right?
probably your first kiss ever, right?
It was my first kiss. Why don't you tell me what bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss.
No,
This was like a second or third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you what happened.
No. Okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so. I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, oh, don't worry. So I was like, okay. Then Danny goes and goes, dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her. What would you stick your tongue in my mouth or some?
What? No.
For $10.
You're making it sound like it was like really. Okay, Dan, we had a little side bet going.
Yeah.
Like,
Which was?
It wasn't very
as to whether or not, you're kissing on the show or boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
You would use tongue, right, Rosie? I mean, you would.
It depends what kind of an actor you are, I guess.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So Danny bets me like $20 that I wouldn't do it, and of course I'm like, yeah, sure, what's the deal? You know?
Then the cops showed up and you got arrested, pretty much.
They should have, but they didn't.
He never did it. And
I so did.
He claims to this day he did that. I swear.
Mila, I so did it.
He never did it?
I didn't let him. I think he tried, but I think I kept my mouth so closed.
Yeah. You did the old teeth block?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't let him do the teeth block.
You were like, oh,
yes, he never got his tongue.
You were very
excited. You didn't, Ashton. Just admit it.
Dad, I swear.
She's 14. She didn't. You stop it.
She would no. That was not the first. You had turned 15 by then.
No, she was 12, but I know
15.
it.
There's a big difference. That 1 year makes the whole world change.
So Ashton Kutcher famously works as an activist against human trafficking and sexually exploited children and has spoken out about how his technology Thorn is being used to identify victims and perpetrators. Obviously, that work is very important.
So, update, since the recording of this video, Ashton Kutcher has actually stepped down as the chairman of Thorn.
Ashton Kutcher has stepped down from the anti-child sex abuse organization he founded after he wrote a letter of support for convicted rapist Danny Masterson. Kutcher resigned as chairman of the board of Thorn, a charity that protects children from abuse and exploitation after him and his wife Mila Kunis wrote letters of support for Masterson. Masterson was found guilty of raping 2 women last week.
A lot of people are speculating that that is perhaps a shield to hide, some not so squeaky clean things that he may have done in the past. And the questionable figures he hangs out with. So let's get into that. First up is Adam Newman, who is the founder of the company WeWork. There's been a lot of scandal surrounding WeWork. CEO Adam Newman was accused of being, quote, a toxic and bizarre leader who made wild, baseless, and sexist claims about himself and employees. He reportedly smoked weed on a private jet. He served employees tequila shots after discussing layoffs, and he tried trademarking the word we. No. And so Ashton Kutcher and Adam Newman have been pretty good friends. And I found this interview with the two of them with CNBC in 2019 where Ashton Kutcher stated, and I quote, he has confidence in the company WeWork.
Adam Newman is the infamous fraudster and tech CEO behind the company WeWork. Once leading a modest startup, Adam became a greed-driven narcissist who rode in private jets and lived lavish lifestyles, partying till dawn, sometimes even in his own offices. He was borrowing money from investors to pay for bottomless kegs in the office. He invested in defunct wave pool companies, all to create this cultish company environment that bowed down to its supreme CEO and leader, Adam Newman. And now, his world has entirely crashed down around him after he was convicted of multiple counts of fraud, stealing investors' money to pay for his lifestyle.
How did you first get involved with WeWork?
Well, Adam and I have known each other for 15 years, 10 years, 12 years, something like that.
Why work with WeWork on this? And are you a WeWork investor?
I'm not a WeWork investor. We've talked about it over the years many a time. I have confidence in the company.
And Danny Masterson also hung around with Wilmer Valderrama. He was better known as Fez on That 70s Show. Let's just say Fez doesn't exactly have the greatest dating history. It's a very gross one. I was actually unaware of this. Watching That 70s Show, I mean, Fez was just like kind of girl crazy. But it seems like that's not too far off from who he was in real life. Chasing after any girl he could get his hands on. Just ew. So Wilmer met Demi Lovato when she was 17 and they started dating when she was 18. He was 29. I just turned 30 and the thought of hanging around with a 17, 18-year-old makes me want to gag. Like, get this child away from me. I have no business talking to a child. The mind can't comprehend that of which it would not commit. Since then, Demi Lovato has opened about the gross relationship that they had. He also dated Lindsay Lohan when she was freshly 18 and dated Mandy Moore when she was just 16. And he claims in an interview that he took her V card. She denies this, which to me is just sickening because not only is that illegal, but you're then getting on television to brag about that.
Talk to you for a second here, because this is a pretty amazing story. You get on That 70s Show, all of a sudden you're getting high-class girls. Mandy Moore, man, is very attractive.
She's one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met. Well, yeah, I mean, it's.
How'd you meet Mandy Moore? Where do you meet her? Do you meet her on the set of That 70s Show?
Well, that's what's hysterical. This is a really funny story. You know, I got called, and at the time, Teen Magazine. She was doing the cover of Teen Magazine.
Would you go to a shit music festival or something?
Exactly. Yeah, with a radio show or something.
Lots of shitty music. Yes. Go ahead. So you
shitty singer in the business.
First time you see Mandy Moore naked, how much time do you have to put in with a chick like that before you get to start banging her? Do you have to put in months of time?
No, well, see, we were each other's first loves. You know what I mean? Like that's
took an hour. She was a virgin.
Her virginity.
She was a virgin. You took her virginity, dude.
High
five, Artie.
Come here. Okay. He goes high five him.
Yeah. Do you have to use some sort of tool to pierce that thing?
I will say this: it is not like warm apple pie. Okay, it is not like that.
Is your penis black and blue after you take someone's virginity?
Exactly.
That sicko show, for real. Something I found interesting was I remember hearing that Topher Grace, who was Eric Foreman on That 70s Show, did not associate with any of the cast members, and he was often depicted as pretentious, kind of stuck up, like, oh, he thinks he's better than all these people. Well, that's making a lot more sense now.
I really was careful about who I let into my circle because it was a weird time. You know, that was my first acting gig. Someone had found me in a high school play. A lot of kids on that show had never acted before, and I was very careful about who I let in. So it wasn't like a coincidence that we were hanging out, or, you know, I really wanted to be sure that the people who I knew something weird was happening, or that it was, you know, like everyone talks to you like you're winning the lottery when you go, but I just knew, like, oh, I just got to be really careful. And there's so many cautionary tales.
And let me just say, it is a great day to be an Eric Foreman girl, because I've always been an Eric Foreman girl.
What a bitch.
So stan Eric Foreman for clear skin. Topher Grace has not made a public statement about Danny Masterson's sentencing. However, his wife did take to Instagram with a statement saying, "To every rape victim that is re-traumatized by witnessing society debate and focus their attention on what is going to happen to a rapist, I see you." Wow. So didn't mention him by name, but pretty obvious what that's about. Show me your friends, I will show you your future. You know, not to say that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis are guilty of anything necessarily. However, I think your friends say a lot about who you are. And especially when you do work surrounding sexual assault, human trafficking, I would think that you would be really selective with who you let into your circle. Some final thoughts here. Unlike Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, I don't think a page description about somebody can completely define who they are. I, nor the internet, has any real idea who any of these people are at the end of the day, and what their actual intentions with defending a rapist were. It could have just been blinded by friendship. I think it's so easy to just focus on the good parts of things. Like, sometimes when I look back to my childhood, I only see the good parts, and it makes me miss it, and I feel a sense of warmth and nostalgia and like, oh, I really miss this. But your brain can really block out the bad. And I think when you bring both the good and the bad in, you have a more clear picture of how something actually is. There's a way to express admiration for a person you once knew while also condemning them at the same time. I think sometimes you're too close to the forest to see the trees. Step away from a situation long enough to see it for what it is, not just the parts you want to see. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening with me. I would love to hear your thoughts on this whole situation down in the comments below. I will see you next time. Goodbye.